All right.
Okay, so Jamie, let's go ahead and go through a scenario that you're going through right now, a real world situation. And what I'll do is you tell me what the issue is. I'll tell you what I suggest you do, and then we'll go around the room as a collective and see and put our thoughts together. So let's start with your situation.
Okay. So, a friend of mine approached me wanting to get a quote for mainly his autos, his motorcycle, um, and knowing this person personally, I was really excited about it because I've been trying to get their information. He also has a plane. He's getting married, and so they're fixing to buy a new home. All the things. So I knew I really wanted this policy. Um, I had a hard time kind of going back and forth from with him, trying to get all the information. At first, he told me he was upset with his main company, that his current company. I didn't really ask why in the beginning because I was just like, I really didn't care. I just wanted to get the information and get the quote started. Digging deeper into getting the quote, he mentioned he had a tow truck, what we seen on the policy, but it was actually on his personal policy somehow. Um, and it actually needed to be on a commercial policy because he's going to be using it for a business that he's fixing to start on the side, towing for the highway patrol. Then he sends me information of, well, the other company had it on my personal policy. I don't understand why it needs to go on this policy type thing. And then, so one of the objectives I would say would be getting all the information, kind of going back and forth. Um, as I talk with him more, I kind of see that he's somebody I think I'm going to have to set up an appointment to actually be face to face with versus over the phone, email, or text messages. Because there's so, as we're digging deeper, it seems like there's even more policies. But I sent him all of the quotes that I had thus far because I didn't want him to think we wasn't doing anything. And I made it very clear in my email that, which I have taken from you, not giving him the option of, I would like for you to, when you get a chance, give me a call. I said we have to set up a schedule of an appointment to discuss this policy further. But
Okay.
until this morning, I didn't hear anything from him.
All right. So we've got four things that we have to deal with in this particular situation.
Okay.
The one that you think is going to be the most difficult is actually going to be the easiest, which is the
Okay.
tow truck, moving the tow truck to a commercial policy. And the reason why this goes back to quality of life. At the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, you're about to get married. At the end of the day, you're about to start a new business. At the end of the day, you have a bunch of assets. So having this on the wrong policy type now means that you put yourself personally at risk, and everything that you own, everything that you possess, everything that you built, everything you promised your spouse that she's going to be a party to because she's marrying you and you have all these assets, not marrying you for the assets, but she's marrying you and you have assets. Well, now you're going to put that at risk to save a few bucks. That doesn't make sense. So, no, we're going to put your tow truck where it needs to be, which is on a commercial policy that now separates your personal from your business. Now we're protecting mama. We're protecting all the other things that you've built by putting things where they're supposed to go. That's not an option. If I didn't know, it would be one thing, but I know. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, it's not an option. And
Mm-hmm.
if you are more concerned with saving a few dollars than you are in protecting your quality, your overall quality of life, then I'm probably not the agent for
Mm-hmm. That's good. Thank you.
you. Okay. So that's the first thing. That's the easy one. The second, if he's got all this stuff and all these things going on, getting a face to face with him may be more difficult than what you realize. So I would try to do a Zoom call with him. Okay. That's what I would try to do first. Unless, well, no, I won't say first. Go ahead and try to do the face-to-face, but if you see hesitance or reluctance or a delay because, man, I don't know when I'm gonna have time to come in the office and sit down with you and meet with you and do whatever, then go ahead and schedule a Zoom call.
What about an outside the office meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, if
It might have
you
to be after hours with him.
okay, if you have the time and you're good with doing face to face after hours, during hours, before hours, whatever, that's fine. But I'm saying if the hesitance comes in with, I just don't have time to meet with you in person, then automatically go back to, then let's set up a Zoom call because I need to be able to talk to you face to face, whether it's real face to face or whether it's, you know, us just having a meeting like this. So your go-to should be face to face, like you said, because of what you're dealing with here. But don't be afraid to have that fallback of a Zoom call either, because a phone call and an email is not going to cut it for a person like this. You know that it's hard getting data that way.
Okay.
The second thing you got to do is you have to give him a list of everything that you need for that call, because if not, you're just going to have a series of meetings. Right. Oh, I didn't bring that paperwork. Oh, I don't have that ID card. Oh, I didn't bring that. You know what? I don't have the VIN number for that. No, you have to be very clear in your data gathering. And if you look in the video library, in the commercial, just type in commercial, and you're going to see our commercial fact finder. I would use that commercial fact finder because then you won't miss anything because you're going to need his VIN number. He says a company he's starting, but he may have already started it, which means he probably has an EIN number, all that kind of stuff already. So just make sure you're asking all the right questions. Again, go to the video library, type in the word commercial, look at it, look at the commercial fact finder. It's under a big blue download button. Okay.
That's our worksheet that we have saved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And next is for this guy, it can't be about price. I'm assuming he's gonna want to make it about price, but it can't be about price. Remember we had that big conversation about perceived value versus value. Features, benefits, quality of life is what make up value. So you got to be strong with your features, strong with your benefits, and tell the story of how it's going to protect his quality of life. And again, he's getting ready to enhance his quality of life because he's getting ready to get married. He's getting ready to start a new business. He already has a plane. He already has all this other stuff going on. Dude, you've got an amazing quality of life. We need to protect it. Right? And here's how we're going to protect it. We're going to put everything where it's supposed to be. This tow truck should not be on your personal property. This is some agent who figured out a way to get you something cheaper. I'm not the cheapest agent. If you're looking for cheap, you can go down the street to whoever. I'm not that agent. I'm going to make sure that when you walk out of my office, that you are protected. And no matter what happens, you can sleep at night knowing that you got a partner in this.
Yeah, he has. I was surprised he has the higher limits. He has our standards, which was great. That kind of got us past that obstacle of even having to discuss that point. But the coverage is not there for that tow truck at all. He only has liability.
And again, it's quality of life. And you know what? He may have bought the tow truck. I don't know, but he may have just bought it because it was a good deal. And he may not even have driven it yet. He could have just be sitting in the garage somewhere, sitting in the shed somewhere. And he bought it because he knew he was going to need it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why we do fact finding. What do you do with this tow truck? How often do you drive it right now? Do you drive it between 51 or 100 miles a day? What are you actually towing? What kind of revenue does this tow truck generate for you? And see, these are all questions that are on our fact finder. And once you ask those questions, now you have a real clear picture of what that tow truck does. But at the end of the day, the tow truck should never be on his personal policy.
Yeah.
Right. And you just don't give him that option. That's seriously. This is what I call the assumed close, which is I know you're going to trust me to make the best decisions for you, which is why you came to me. So we're going to get this tow truck off of this personal policy and put it on the policy it's supposed to be on. That is my close.
Mhm.
Okay. We're going to take it off of this and put it where it's supposed to go. End of story.
His dad owns a garage, and I think that's what that was originally purchased for.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so again, we'll ask those questions using the fact finder, and that will reveal everything that we need to know about this scenario.
Yeah, I
Okay,
feel good about it.
good. Now the key is getting him to call you back,
Mhm.
right? Getting him to replace or getting him to respond to what you need. So at this particular point, your emails, your voicemail, everything should have a time issue to it, and it should have a price change issue to it. So look, we know that you got a bunch of things happening right now. You're getting ready to get married, you're getting ready to open your business, you got whatever, and time is premium. So let's get this taken care of right away. Let's go ahead and get on this now. Let's get it off your plate and get it onto my plate. You give me the information that I need, you give me whatever I do, then you can go on and do all these other things that you're doing, and I'll take care of this. But I need to be able to do that. I need this. I need this information, this. Give him a deadline. Today is Wednesday. Get this information to me by Monday. You got the weekend.
Mhm.
Take charge, Jamie. Give instructions, not options.
Mhm.
Let me say that again. Give instructions, not options.
Yeah, I feel good about it too. I feel more confident. Um, Earlier I was thinking, can I record you and put it on my call? But I can say it myself.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's the time piece of it, right? We got to make sure we've got that good. And then uh, make sure you, like I said, give him specific time frames, and then make sure that you are letting him know that, look, these prices, carriers are changing. Guidelines are changing every day. It's a hard market right now. What that means for us is that the price that I give you today may only last a week or two before there's a change in our industry, and that price could change or go up. So we need to get this done now. Let's lock in at today's prices instead of hoping that tomorrow's prices will be better.
Mhm.
So let's get this locked in now, because there's too much change going on in our industry.
I think that's all with him.
Okay,
You want
perfect.
to the next person, or are you
I'm
want?
I'm gonna pause recording. Oh, okay, Jacob. So tell me about the situation that you're going through, and then I'll give you what my suggestions are. Go ahead.
Okay. So we had a lady move down here from New Hampshire, and she found an agent in Georgia. She lives in South Carolina, but she found an agent in Georgia to write her home and her auto through Travelers. The home went into effect in June, and the autos were due to go in effect October 1st. Travelers changed the policy to where you can't write across borders for the auto, so they told her they were not going to write her auto policy. So she found us, an agent in South Carolina, to write both her home and her auto. Her roof being 10 years old, Traveler doesn't write any roof over 10 years old. So we just AOR'd that roof, and we were just going to rewrite the auto since they never went into effect. Which the AOR on the roof took about 2 weeks. So we had time to go over the auto policy and see what we were going to do once that AOR went through. And I explained to her our agency standard limits, so 250, 500. And then everything else, the med pay and the rental and all that were our standards. And I fought her with the med pay for a while, and I explained to her, even though you have health insurance, the med pay can help with your deductible and things like that and make it a smoother process. And there's no higher authority that you have to go to for the med pay. When it came time to the limits, she wanted to see multiple options because she just didn't think she could afford the 250, 500. And I went back and forth with this customer for over a week, explaining the limits, what they do, why they're important, and why this will save her money in the long term. And it ended up we went with the lower limits because she just kept telling me I can't afford this. I'm a substitute teacher and I just can't afford it right now. Which she bought that $7,500 roof this week. So I guess she did have the money, she just didn't want to spend it there.
Okay. So in that situation, what you're dealing with is a one-time payout versus a recurring bill. Okay, that's something you have to understand. If a person feels like they're broke, they may have already budgeted money for a specific expense. Like she probably already budgeted money. I'm assuming that she had already budgeted this $7,500 for the roof. Even paying $7,500, it probably was $10,000, and she talked the person down to $7,500, right?
Right.
So, okay. So that means that in her mind, and again, I'm assuming for her, but in her mind, having that monthly bill that she had to pay from now to whenever, right, is it's much more important that she cut that out than this one-time thing. Because I'd pay that one thing and I'm done with that. No more. But if I agree to this, I'm paying this forever. And so that's a concern. I get that. But we don't get emotionally caught up in other people's money. We don't spend our customers' money. Our job is very simple. We have agency standards that we're going to explain. You explain those agency standards, right?
Right.
So that's step one. You did what you were supposed to do. Next, once we've explained our agency standards, we explain the consequences of each coverage if they don't have our agency standards at the moment of claim. So you went through the consequences and made her very clear and made it very clear and made her aware these are possible consequences you could face if you have a claim and you have these minimal coverages. You explained that, right?
Right. Yes. Multiple
That's
times.
step two. Step three, I've explained the standard, I've explained the consequences. Now, if you don't want to agree to my recommendations, you need to sign the decline coverage form. So, step three, did you have her sign the decline coverage form?
Yes.
What was her attitude about signing the decline coverage form?
At first she was really brought back. And she was like, what's that? What am I declining? What am I signing? But then she eventually was just like, I understand, I just can't afford it. I have to sign it.
Okay. Guess what? You did everything you were supposed to do, Jacob. You did everything you were supposed to do. We have three steps. Number one, we have our agency standards. Number two, I'm going to explain the consequences. If you refuse to accept our agency standards and you want something below that, that's fine. I'll sell it to you. You just have to sign this decline coverage form saying you understand that this is not what we recommend. You did everything you were supposed to do. That's why we don't get emotionally caught up in our customers' money. That's why we let our processes take over that. Now, here's what's nice about this. If your next conversation that comes up with her, she knows that she's not where you want her to be. So it makes it easier for you to bring it up. Hey, I know that things were kind of tough when you first moved here, substitute teaching, doing some other stuff. When we sit down and do this review, I'm going to ask you about bumping that coverage up because it really concerns me that you have these lower limits when we really want you to have higher limits to better protect you. Guess what? Her money situation might be different. Maybe she has a full-time job now. Maybe she's got a permanent job now. So our job is to bring it up. We have one job in insurance: offer the coverage that best protects a customer's quality of life should they ever have to file a claim. The customer's job is to decide what they want to pay for. We don't get emotionally caught up in their money, and we don't compromise on our job. So, Jacob, you did everything you were supposed to do. You can sleep good at night. And if this person has a claim, it's not on you because we explained it. We have the decline coverage form. We hope that she does not have a claim ever. But if something were to happen, nothing can come back on you because you did what you were supposed to do. So great job on that.
Thank you.
Okay.